Yes. Woo! Wow, we're back. We're back and things are flowing beautifully. Welcome to our 5th installment of Everyday Lessons Now. Let me introduce the super popular these days, Dr. Amala Luncheon. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Yes, and of course, for the benefits of those who may be looking at the podcast for the first time and this is your first episode, my name is Terran Jaiga Calendar, and we are here every week to bring to you the great lessons of emotional intelligence. And by now, some of you would have had the copy of the book in your possession, and you've been all up into the readings. So we like that, and we want to say thank you so much. We want to thank everybody who made that extra effort to get it in their hand. If it was paper copy or you got it on Kindle, you bought it digitally, however you have it, we want to say we appreciate it and thank you guys so much for that. This is just the first leg of our journey that we just started 2021, and we know for sure it's going to continue into 3031 and beyond.
Absolutely.
3031 is that real fire. That is grandchildren. I didn't say 2030, I said 3031 and beyond. So you know how far that is from now. So we're hoping that our teachings of now will continue.
Live on, absolutely.
And live on all along there. So, what's going on?
Well, I actually wanted to talk about something that started in my mind actually when you said something. I heard you say this twice, like in the last couple of weeks when you said, well, you guys are pelting at a house that I no longer live in. Mm-hmm. And I actually thought that was actually quite interesting. And sometimes we move on from places and we've done all the work and people don't realize or recognize that the work has been done because they are stuck in a specific place. And so today I wanted to talk a little bit about mindset and how mindset can either be fixed or you can have a growth mindset. And some of those things, that I found when I was doing the research to do this, I thought were actually quite interesting. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. So thanks for being the inspiration for that, actually.
Anytime.
So now I found that there are a couple of intangibles that actually affect our mindset. And intangibles would be the things now, and I mean, we've been talking about soft skills for the last couple of podcasts. And soft skills are those things that employers wish you would have that are not necessarily taught anywhere. Maybe you don't get a physical course on it, but those are the things that if you bring those things to the workplace, they help you to be better. And of course, if you can master them, then those are the things that help you to excel in your personal life. Because remember, what we're looking at is for people to be whole. And so you need to show up as your true, authentic self. So
Correct.
Some of the intangibles that affect mindset there are 5 of them that I looked at. So they're skills, challenges, effort, feedback, and setbacks. And so if you were to think of them separately, for instance, and you start to think about skills and how skills can affect whether you would have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. If you look at skills, then someone with a growth mindset would think, well, skills would come from hard work, or skills can always be improved. And we're all about improving skills over here. Mm-hmm. And someone with a fixed mindset would be like, well, that's something that you're born with, or you're not born with it. So that's one of the things I think is important, and I wanted to talk about that. And I mean, you could jump in at any time.
Of course, I'm listening. I'm trying to let the listeners and the viewers. I'm practicing what we teach all the time. Listen.
Right.
You have to be a great listener. So I'm listening before I weigh in on my end.
Okay. Perfect. So the next one is challenges. And if you think about challenges and you have a growth mindset, you may think, well, a challenge is something that I should embrace. And perhaps I would look at this as how it can help me. What is this challenge here to teach me? You'd also think of it as an opportunity to grow. And then you can be more persistent once you have a challenge or once you've overcome that challenge. If you have a fixed mindset, then you see a challenge as like, oh, maybe I should go around this way, and you try to avoid it. And you would think, well, this challenge is going to show how unskilled I am or how unprepared I am for this, and maybe I shouldn't do it. And then perhaps you just give up. And that, of course, serves no one any good purpose. Effort is another one of the things. And someone with a fixed mindset will think, well, this is unnecessary. I'm not about to do that. That'll just cost me too much, in terms of effort. And you always think that effort is something that you have to put in if you're not good enough, if you have a fixed mindset. Whereas if you have a growth mindset, you think, well, this effort is good. This is essential. This is going to, help me to get on the path that I need to be on to master this. This is a completely different approach. Then feedback. A lot of times we do not like feedback, especially if it's going to be critical or it comes in the form of criticism. And we have to be able to accept feedback. And now I'm actually at a space in my life where I am soliciting feedback. So I would say, well, read the book and let me know what you think. And I'm really excited to hear the feedback because I can build on whatever someone thinks was said and it wasn't. And it gives me a chance to explain because perhaps I might not have been as clear as I thought I was. Or perhaps someone sees it from a different perspective, and that's a fantastic opportunity for conversation. And, we always now want to have those conversations that people think are difficult. So I'm soliciting feedback. And, so I think it's something that I can learn from and something that I can perhaps improve if someone says something that I didn't consider. And I remember the day that we had put out the first set of PR saying that the book was coming and so on. Someone called me and they said, well, I don't think that this would work in the Caribbean because we're just not meant to be people who use emotional intelligence for everything. It's an American concept. And that took me back.
So
I said, okay.
That's so wrong.
Yeah.
I can bet I can bet anything that person's over 50.
No, actually.
No? They're not?
No.
Oh, wow.
They're over 40, but not over 50.
That is very strange. Well, their parents are old.
Well, actually, I want to say they're in a sort of rigid or regimented, I should say, organization. And so for them, being emotionally intelligent, or their concept of emotional intelligence, I think is what the issue is. So I took some time to explain and so on.
This person, that's for the benefit of the listeners, and I like what we engage in here. It's a meal.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a meal. Has to be. It sounds like somebody who was raised with a dad like mine.
Yes.
It's a mindset. Yes. It's a mindset.
Well, absolutely.
One of the things that's a big problem in the Caribbean culture. In Caribbean culture, we have those issues. So, as you said, getting feedback is important. Go ahead.
And so I welcomed it. I didn't shy away from it because, the call, it could have been negative had I been like, oh, well, no, you don't know what you're talking about. I said, no, tell me more. Why do you think that this would not work? And I went into detail, and what probably could have been like a 2-minute phone call was probably about 20 minutes, and I was really happy to say, no, I think once you read the book, you'll understand. I'd be happy to work with your team and let you understand exactly how, this would help. And at the end, we got off thinking that I should get on a Zoom call with their team because he understood then that it really could be beneficial and it wasn't what he was thinking that it was. So I thought that was interesting.
It's interesting that we're talking about challenges. I want to throw something in the pot. When we're speaking about challenges, it's challenges open-ended. There's so much different challenges and every individual goes through their particular challenge, right? Be it work, relationship with children, parent, relationship with co-workers, relationship with bosses, relationships in challenges in inside of like a marital space and all of that, right?
Right.
I have been over this journey thus far, book out and all of these things, also going through my personal challenges. One of them, and I love to share some of my personal stuff in order for people to realize that we are too human. And some people believe when you growing, right? Some people can't accept someone else's growth because they get comfort in you being at your worst self, right? People need to understand. Let me slow it down. Some people really embrace you at your worst because that's how they feel empowered. So they don't want better for you because you getting knowledge and you growing and you operating in a different mind space is to them brings insecurity because they no longer have that hold on you. Right? So one of the challenges I've realized is, and somebody brought it up too, the more or the better you try to do, the harder the challenges is for you. Because if you're not gotten to that space where you can separate yourself from your old self, like you said at the top of the conversation, something I said about pelting stone or knocking the door on a house you used to live in. I say that only because I have realized that over the past couple of years, what people grow you to know you as, they want to keep you there. So they love to go back to that whole, but you're there, and da. But from the time you operate in a different space and they don't have that over you anymore, they don't know how to communicate with you. And that is an indication to you that that's not good. That was toxic. That's why you're leaving it. Right? So a challenge for people, one of the first hurdles, I think, is the acceptance of knowing, or when you realize that what used to work can't work anymore. And as human beings, we always struggle with moving forward from things we grew accustomed to. You understand? And when I say accustomed, people have to remember that there's some arguments that's so customary. That's all you know. Some people only know to communicate by being boisterous, and loud and confrontational.
Yes, and
that
loud.
is who they are. Because they believe that that's how they communicate and then operate. But if you can't take me, because they too have not figured out better for themselves. And the only way they will get to that point is, as you on the other side have to decide where, okay, I'm not going to harbor that behavior anymore and treat with it differently. But you can only do that when you two grow. So we're going back to growth. You have to grow out of that space too, to be like, all right, I'm bigger than this now. But you have to do it in such a way, and the growth mindset comes in. You can't do it in a way for the person on the other hand to belittle them. So you can't come into it like, well, I learned all of this now, so I'm better than you, so let me talk to you like I'm better than you. That's not the approach. You understand? When I talk about not being in that house anymore, is moving away completely and letting them visit you at your new residence. And when somebody visits you at your new residence, from the time they're walking up the driveway, they will tell, like, if you used to live somewhere where anything goes, you had no gate, people just used to park and walk in. And when they come to your new residence, the driveway is longer, they have to park down there. So the whole mindset changed. So they're going to approach you differently immediately. You never had a doorbell. They used to come and just open it door and come inside. Now you have a doorbell, you have dogs, you have security system, you have people will then operate differently, and that is a mindset. So when I say it, I only say it for people to understand what I mean, but it's really a mindset. I don't live there anymore, meaning that how I used to function, the things I believed in, I've shifted a little bit from that. So in this new space, the operations here are different. You understand?
And that's a great analogy with the no driveway and having a driveway and walking up and so on. Yeah, no, that's a fantastic analogy. So people are able to understand, you move physically from one place to another. And I so think
the physical movement is what we need when we're speaking on a West Indian or Caribbean basis, because we operate from a physical thing.
Exactly.
We don't know. You can't just tell a West Indian person, yeah, this is good for you to do. How? They want to know.
Right, exactly.
You have to show them, you have to hold their hand and walk them through it. So that is when I make the analogy that way, is because I think it's a perfect example, because it happens in real life. You have gone to an aunt's house from when you were a child with your parents. Then your aunt migrated, went away. So now you get the opportunity, you're going, summertime come, or as we say, the August vacation comes around.
Right.
Your parents say, hey, we're going my Auntie Barbara. Oh, Auntie Barbara, who went away? You're changing. Auntie Barbara, you knew down the road is not that anymore, because she's not down the road anymore. You had to go on a plane to see Auntie Barbara.
Exactly.
So in you approaching Auntie Barbara, you're not going to approach Auntie Barbara the way you did 10 years ago when she was living down the street, because you have done mentally shift away from the old Barbara. And that is the same thing we need to do with people. You have to mentally move your mind away from how they used to be. And the only way you can get to that person, the person who has moved, also have to show you how they move. You can't say you move.
And right. And I think the onus is on those of us who are doing that mindset work to really show people. You are right, because now you're seeing a lot of people just coming and they're trying to talk to you in the way that they used to talk to you before, but because you don't live at that same address, then you're like, but hold up, and you kind of sometimes think, well, what do I need to do to show that this is a little bit different? And so you need to approach it in a way that is gentle, and in a way that does not, as you said before, make you seem like you are greater than, but you can ease into it and just say, well, hey, I don't do this anymore or whatever. And so people are not necessarily offended, but they see that growth. And sometimes there may need to be some hand holding as you tell people, whatever it is, because, sometimes just a sudden drop, that's what will kill people. And we should be trying not to do that over here.
Correct is right.
So, that is one of the things, again, we right back to feedback now and how feedback affects people differently. So with a growth mindset, you'd be happy to welcome the feedback. And with a fixed mindset, you would get offended. So those people who are still trying to knock at a house that you don't live in, they would take it personal and they would perhaps get offended because their mindset is fixed and they cannot understand that someone could actually grow. And then with setbacks, when a setback happens, I think this is one of the ways that we can really see what type of mindset someone has. If someone says, well, I'm going to figure this out because they've had a setback and they really figure a way to work harder for the next time, then you understand that they're operating from a space of a growth mindset. If someone thinks, well, oh, this was my boss's fault, or this was my sister's fault, or whatever, and they blame others and they get discouraged, then you realize that they are operating in a fixed mindset. And so the way to move from one type of mindset to another is to guard your thoughts. And besides guarding your thoughts, examine those thoughts and think of, am I leaving space for opportunities? Or am I just stuck in a place where it is in this box? It's either black or white. It's either, you think in absolutes, as we had said before. And if you do that, then you realize that you are really in a fixed mindset and there's an opportunity for growth. And I remember a story from when I was in high school. So this had to be, and I'm going to date myself here, this had to be somewhere between 1988 and 1990. And I remember we were standing at the top of the stairs waiting for the bell to ring for us to be dismissed, because you couldn't leave, before the bell, even if your classes had been done. And we're standing like at the top of the stairs in the auditorium, and a teacher's child was coming up the stairs, and somebody in the group, because now it's all classes just dismissed and waiting. And a teacher's child was coming up the stairs, and somebody said, oh my, the child has really grown, and the child is so big and that. And I remember Natasha Gittins saying, and she had to be my junior, that's why I'm saying that it had to be in those years. And she said, well, he's not a bottle. And that stuck with me. That's one of those things, people always say, oh, you'll remember where you were when something happened. Mm-hmm. And that always stuck with me, that people are allowed to grow, as long as people and things, as long as you're not a bottle, you can grow. And that has stuck with me.
Physically, mentally, spiritually, growth can happen at any time. And we also have to accept that people mightn't necessarily grow at the same time with you, and that's okay. Right. We cannot expect that everybody around us is going to operate in the same speed we're operating at, is going to operate exactly how we operate in, and that too is cool. We have to respect and be respectful of that as well. You have to respect people and their time. Like healing, not everybody heals the same way. Some people, you might hear them happen on and on. I can't take it. I'm going through this again, blah, 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 and da, 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 da. And that is something, if you're a true friend of someone, you have to give them that time to heal, give them that space. And we also have to give them space to grow, because we're seeing it every day now. Things like you have somebody you've been friends with for 25 years and they're anti-vaxxer and you believe in the vaccine. Immediately the rift is so real, and because in this now time, the energy and the tension is there. So you are looking at putting a 25 years of friendship down the drain because of beliefs. But as real friends, we have to find that common ground, that balance, to then differentiate, okay. And both sides can mediate. And I honestly believe you can still remain friends with somebody who chooses not to be vaccinated if you respect space and boundaries. Well, okay, we could no longer do these things together because your beliefs on this is different to mine, but it doesn't change who you are. And I respect that, and it doesn't change who I am either. This is a choice of something that is just in the now. Let's hope and pray that in 5 to 10 years, we can resolve that and we can live the next 25 years of our friendship in a better and calmer space.
Yes.
Hear it?
Yes.
So guys, I know you're enjoying it and loving it, but that's why we give Ollie a little bit every week. So you'll join us each and every week to have some kind of knowledge. We'll be talking about emotional intelligence, everyday lessons. This is what we're here to do, to just have conversations about the lessons that we all need. And we say it all the time, we have to unlearn so many things in order for us to move forward in a better space. All right, some closing words?
Indeed. Just think about what kind of mindset you've been embracing for all these years and what you want to do now. If you've had a growth mindset over the years, then that is fantastic. If you've had a fixed mindset, then you may want to look at what are some of the things that you can do. So, just think about your mindset, guys. Mindset is actually currency in this time. Your mindset is currency.
That is correct.
You can turn that into something fantastic. Currency. Just run with it.
Mindset is a currency. So guys, as we always do in Fine Style, the only podcast of its kind that lets you dance on your way out. All right, so until next week, we out.